Can you hear me? Good.
Yes,
Thank you. Thank you, Virginia. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Good. Okay. Mary? Good. Oath? Good. Okay. Okay, welcome you all back to the to this second session. And this second session, this sutra is extremely important. At the same time, it involves a little bit of technicalities. And then number three, it requires quite a bit of background information. So for that matter, first of all, as always, with the flow of the momentum from our, let's say, the morning class, the first class. For some of you, I know there's just midnight mark. For you, it's midnight, or maybe like the dawn. Yeah, so I really appreciate all of you somehow making it happen. The difference in the time zone, and still you make it happen. Okay, so let us recite the Ye Dharma mantra. This mantra, which is so precious, is the dependent origination mantra. Okay, most of you know that by heart, but for those of us who are new, we'll try to screen share it and we'll recite it. And I wholeheartedly suggest that all of us learn this mantra and know the meaning of the mantra, not just the mantra per se, and how that is related to what we are studying. And the Rice Sutra also refers to as a dependent origination, the sutra on dependent origination. Sutra on dependent origination, there are the several versions. So this is known as the essence of dependent origin mantra. I will say this 3 times together. Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum tesham tathagato hyavatat tesham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaye swaha. Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum tesham tathagato hyavatat tesham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaye swaha. Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum tesham tathagato hyavatat tesham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaye swaha. Okay. As what we read here in the Noble Mind Sutra, the Rice Seedling, where Shariputra followed Aramatria, and then with the exchange of courtesy, sitting on the rock, then exchanging courtesies, then Shariputra started to ask questions related to what the Buddha taught. Just before the gathering, that particular gathering. So what the Buddha taught, this is what we need to keep in mind. The background information was that the Buddha, as the Buddha was passing by a rice field, and there was the rice, the seedling growing, and the Buddha stopped. And Buddha pointed to the rice seedling, the shoots of the rice, and then said, the monks, look at this, whosoever sees dependent origination will see the dharma. Whosoever sees the dharma will see the Buddha. This is one set of teaching. Let me repeat this. Monks, look at this. Whosoever sees dependent origination sees the dharma. Whosoever sees the dharma will see the Buddha. One set. Then the second set. Because this exists, that exists. Because this is produced, that is produced. Ignorance gives rise to contaminated karmas, which in turn give rise to consciousness, which in turn give rise to name and form, and so forth, till number 11, birth, number 12, aging and death. And then the whole lot of miseries, the heap of miseries befall on us. Then the Buddha continued, where the ignorance ceases, contaminated karma cease. When the contaminated karma cease, consciousness ceases. When the consciousness ceases, the name and form ceases, and so forth. And then name and form number 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, becoming 11, birth. Birth ceases because of birth. When the birth ceases, then number 12, aging and death ceases, and all the heap of miseries will cease, will stop. This is what the Buddha taught. So this is a basic framework of the Noble Mahayana Sutra, the Rice Seedling, or the Dependent Origination Rice Seedling Sutras. This is the main essence. Then, on the Shariputra asked Aramatri in great detail. Actually, Shariputra he knew everything. He knew all these in detail, what the Buddha taught. He is an arahat. Arahat meaning somebody who is already removed from who is already freed from the suffering, who is already freed from samsara. But he asked all these questions to Aramatri on our behalf, on behalf of all the beings who are so ensnared and trapped in samsara, to help them on our behalf. And then Shariputra asked these questions to Aramatri. And Aramatri went in great detail to explain each of these points. Just read it, as you will get the feeling as though like on the Aramatri, how he is explaining. It is like extremely a contemporary way of presenting things, making things so clear. Okay, so for that matter, first I'd like to give the explanation of the basic framework of the teachings on this Rice Seedling Sutra. So there are the three things. Three things. Number one is number one part where the Buddha taught, whosoever sees dependent origination will see the Buddha, and whosoever sees the Buddha will see the whosoever sees dependent origination will see the Dhamma. And whosoever, in Pali it is Dhamma, in Sanskrit it is Dharma, and whosoever sees the Dharma will see the Buddha. Okay, this is one part. We shouldn't forget it. This is so important. And of course, the detailed explanation will be what you follow as we read the text. And second part is, because this exists, that exists. Because this is produced, that is produced. And because of ignorance, contaminated karmas accumulated, because of which consciousness comes into arising, because of which name and form and so forth. So we see that, and they say the two sets of the teachings, and then the third set, which is when the ignorance ceases, then the contaminated karmas cease, because of which the consciousness ceases, and then whole miseries will cease, whole miseries will stop. So this is the third set of the teachings given, and then the whole detail came to be. So for that matter, the first part, whosoever sees dependent origination will see the Dhamma. What does it mean by dependent origination? Number one, what does it mean by dharma? Whosoever sees dependent origination will see the Dhamma. What does it mean by dharma? And then whosoever sees dharma will see the Buddha. What does it mean by Buddha? So all these are going to be explained in great detail. So first, dependent origination, we need to keep in mind that the Buddha started to give this teaching as the Buddha was passing by the rice seedling, the rice field. So where you find the rice seedlings growing there. So what happened was that from there you can see, you can figure out, most of you can conjecture, why the Buddha taught it, why the Buddha pointed to the rice seedling and taught this dependent origin. So this rice seedling, all these beautiful, the rice shoots or the rice seedlings, they came into being by dependence on multiple factors like the seed, then the water, then the fertilizers, then the soil, then the sunlight, air, and so forth. Because of these factors, then the result in the form of rice seedling came into origination. By dependence on multiple factors, the results come into origination, dependent origination. This was what we can see there so visibly. And on that basis, then Buddha taught this dependent origination sutra. Okay. So for that matter, dependent origination, if you study the corpus of the Buddha's teachings, we'll come to realize that dependent origination can be understood on three levels. On three levels. The first one is, of course, we need to have all these as background. And then once you have these, then we'll see that the sutra is so precious. I'll say the first one is dependent origination of the results dependence on the causes, or in simple terms, we call it causal dependent origination. Causal dependent origination. Results dependence on the causes, number one. Number two is the dependent origination of the whole's dependence on the parts, meaning the house as a whole, how the house comes into being by dependence on its smaller parts, like the ceiling, the walls, the windows, doors, floor, the pillar, and so forth. But depends on these parts, then the whole, the house as a whole, comes into being. So that is the second level of dependent origination. Dependent origination of the whole's dependence on the parts. Number two. Number three, dependent origination of dependence on mere mental designation or mere mental imputation. What does it mean by dependent origination of mere mental imputation? Let's say in the dream, we are being affected by the contents of the dream. We are being affected by the contents of the dream. Say in the dream, the ghosts, they chase you, you run for your life, and then in the dream, your mother comes with the birthday gift, cheesecake, and so forth. You're so happy, and then in the dream, the cat jumps over the cheesecake and the topples the cheesecake. You are very sad, angry. You chase the cat, and the cat is faster than you. So cat jumps and you jump and you again fall, and then you break your legs. So all these things happen. So this all happen. But when you wake up, you realize that all these things like a drama. They are drama created by my mind. They're all imputed by my mind. They're all imputed by my mind. My dreaming mind imputes everything in the dream. And the moment you wake up, you feel such a relief. You feel a relief. This is all imputation in my mind. So that's the third level of dependent origination, where everything is projection of your own mind. This is third level. Okay, now we talk about okay, let's say the mother coming to give you the cheesecake on a birthday in the dream, and you feel so happy. Then the cat jumps on it, topples it, you become so angry. So we see that they say the mother coming to give you cheesecake, and the result, you feel elated, you feel so happy. And the cat coming to jump over the cheesecake, that's the cause. And then you feel so angry, that is the result. So this cause-effect relationship, this cause-effect relationships all operating in the dream. In the dream, the moment you wake up, all these dissolve. So the cause-effect giving rise to happiness, cause-effect giving rise to miseries, you come to realize that they're all coming from my mind. But when you are in the dream, you are affected. When you come out, you are freed from being affected. In the dream, you are affected. In the dream, don't let the cat come close by. Otherwise, you'll topple your cheesecake. In the dream, if a cat does jump over your cheesecake, runs, don't think that you are smart, because the cat is always faster than you, right? Don't try to chase the cat. So the point is that in the dream, you're being affected. In the dream, you're affected. So cause effect, what we call is the law of karma. Law of karma, cause and effect. The first level of dependent origination, cause and effect. It is so important. The first level of dependent origination is what governs the whole universe. Whole universe is governed by the law of cause and effect, the first level of dependent origination. Say, 15 billion years ago, the Big Bang happened according to physics. Big Bang happened. So that is the cause. Big Bang is the cause, and the various galaxies were created. And the Milky Way galaxy as one of them, again, that further exploded, further Big Bang or exploded, and then all the solar systems within the Milky Way galaxy, they were created. Then our solar system, the tiny solar system that we are part of, this sun, which was at that point not a solar system, it was just a sun, solar. And that again erupted, Big Bang, and the solar system came into being with the sun at the center, with the 8 or 9 planets, Pluto included, 9, Pluto excluded, 8 planets revolving around it. So this is how the chain of cause and effect, cause and effect, cause and effect, cause and effect, this is how the universe came into being. Then let's say the 4.6 billion years ago, the Earth, planet Earth, which was so hot, it started to cool down. And then 4.6 billion years ago, the water came into being. Water came into being according to physics. Water came into being. Then 4 billion years ago, then the first organisms came into being in the water. Then from there, gradually all these bigger organisms came into being through evolution. And then over time, dinosaurs and so forth. Then 0.3 million years ago, the first human being came on the earth. First human being, 0.3 million years ago. So all these things are operating. And now Charles Darwin's evolutionary theory. So that is purely based on the principle of dependent origination, the first level, which is dependent origination of the cause and effect. The results depends on the causes. This is the Charles Darwin's evolutionary theory, the base grounded on this principle. In other words, whole universe is operating on the basis of the cause and effect. Cause and effect, dependent origination. This is one thing that we need to keep in mind. Now, when the Buddha was passing by the rice field and then pointed to the rice seedling and said that whosoever sees dependent origination, sees the Dhamma. Whosoever sees the Dhamma will see the Buddha. So there, dependent origination is about how the whole world, universe is operating on the basis of the constant flux of the cause and effect relationship. Cause and effect relationship. That was what was operating, governing the whole universe, operation of the whole universe. This is one thing. So on the law, now this is cause and effect relationship. Within that, then there's one section within the denomination of the cause effect relationship. There's one section which we call as the law of karma. Law of karma. Law of karma is a part of the cause effect relationship, dependent on origination of the cause and effect. And so how do we distinguish between the cause and effect, which belongs to the category of the law of karma and which belongs to the category outside the law of karma? Is determined by whether or not your intention is involved. Where the mental function of intentions involved, then that whole, say, the gamut of the cause effect relationship, it becomes karmic cause and effect. Whereas, say, for example, say the water, say the rainwater falls, and then the plants grow. This is just this is a natural cause and effect. It does not involve intention. Where the intention is not involved, it is not a karmic cause and effect. It's a natural cause and effect. But the two things can overlap. Two things can overlap. For example, let's say I eat food and my hunger is gone. This is natural cause effect, but also it overlaps with the say the karmic cause and effect, because I get the food. If I don't have a positive karma to enjoy the food, I'll not get the food. So karma is involved there. And then I have a little bit of hunger. Eating the food, hunger disappears. So that I have the positive karma that my hunger should not be with me. So these two things can overlap. The two things can overlap. You're getting it? Natural cause and effect and the karmic cause and effect can overlap. And some can be purely natural cause and effect. Okay, this is what we need to keep in mind. Then the number three, seeing this, the whole gamut of the cause and effect operation, the cause and effect operation going there in this universe, whole universe is operating on the basis of that, cause and effect. So with this, then finally that one thing. So that is happening where? That is happening where? On the basis of the say in the dream. In the dream. So what technically I can call it as dreamlike is operating there on the dreamlike nature. And then later on, if you do get a little more, I say, if you can go at a proper pace, at a good pace, then we will get a little time to explain a little bit about the dreamlike nature, emptiness nature. So with this, then what we realize is that, okay, dreamlike means dream is just coming from what is difference between the dream and the waking state. Waking state, what I'm seeing, they are really there. In the loose sense, they are there. And the dream is something which is coming from my mind. Okay, how many agree with me? The difference between the waking state and the dream is in the loose sense. Okay, don't think that you are philosophers as of yet. Just in the loose sense, the dream and the waking state. Waking state, for example, like this flower. This really there. But the dream is purely coming from my mind, from the subject. The waking state, this flower is from the object. It's really there as an object there. But the dream is purely coming from my subject, from my mind, from the subject. One is from the object, one is from the subject. Two. So the dream is, the hallmark of the dream is that it is coming from the subject. So likewise, when you realize that everything is like a dream, everything is coming from the subject. Everything is coming from the subject. When you realize that, when do you realize this? When do you realize that the dream, whatever happening, was just a dream? In the dream, let's say, you were in the dream. What is happening? What's happening in the dream? When do you realize that? In the dream or outside the dream? Anybody? Very quick. When do you realize that the dream is dream? Anybody? Very quick. Raise hands. In the dream or outside the dream? Okay, Laura Hoke is expert, I know. Laura?
Outside the dream.
Outside the dream. In the dream, In the dream, right? In the dream, you see dream is real. In the dream, you see dream is real. And outside the dream, you see the dream as dream. So what's the difference? What do you mean by, say, seeing the dream as real versus seeing the dream as dream? Okay, anybody who can explain to me or who likes to explain to us, all of us, what's the difference between seeing the dream as dream and seeing the dream as real? How would you distinguish the two? Anybody, very quick. Anybody? Anybody? How do you distinguish between the knowledge, the dream as dream, and the dream as real, right? Seeing the dream as real and seeing the dream as dream. Anybody? Mary? Mary, you like to give the answer? Mary, give the answer, and then the Venerable Jimbala will translate. Mary, unmute. Unmute. Okay.
Quand on est dans le rêve et qu'on se rend compte qu'on est dans le rêve, ça veut dire qu'on est réveillé et donc on sent que ce que nous sommes en train de voir est un rêve. Donc, à partir de ce moment-là, le rêve ne nous affecte pas parce qu'on sent qu'on est réveillé et qu'on voit quelque chose qui n'est pas vrai.
Okay, Jimbala, translate. Jimbala, you translate into English for all of us? Oh, we cannot hear you. Jimbala, I cannot hear you. Okay, it doesn't matter. Okay, it's fine.
Do you, Tibet House, have you put it in English, please?
I'll put it in English, I see.
Yeah. It's translation and
Otherwise, somebody can translate right away. Anybody? Anna Sophie, you like to translate? Anna Sophie, translate it for all of us.
Vénérable Jimpas, tu peux m'aider à le traduire et je le remets dans le...
Non, je le fais,
tu veux que je
traduire.
répète? Tu veux que
Moi,
je te
traduire.
répète?
Je veux bien, nous.
Je vais traduire, Marie.
Okay, there's somebody translated. We do not understand what Mary said.
Geshe-la, can you hear me?
Yes.
I am going to translate for Venerable Jimpa.
Who are you?
I'm Arno.
Arnold. Okay, Arnold, thank you.
So I just need to listen to... Oui, du coup, Venerable Jimpa, il faut que tu me parles quand même sur le canal en anglais. Sinon, je ne t'entendrai pas. Je vais rester sur l'anglais. Je ne sais pas si ça va marcher, mais... Vas-y, du coup...
Qu'on est réveillé. Qu'on est réveillé, si on voit que c'est un rêve et qu'on est en train de rêver, c'est qu'on est réveillé. Et donc, voilà, on voit que c'est un rêve, que c'est une hallucination, mais on est réveillé, on le voit bien.
So, I'm translating from Marie, right?
Yes.
So, I just switched the channel. So, Marie, il faut que tu me répètes parce que je n'ai pas entendu le début de ce que tu as dit, parce que j'avais changé de channel.
Quand on est dans un rêve et qu'on se rend compte qu'on est dans un rêve, ça veut dire qu'on...
Marie, attends, parce que tu vas trop vite. So, if you are in a dream and you realize that you are in a dream, vas-y, continue.
Voilà, on se rend compte que, eh ben, c'est justement, on est réveillé puisqu'on se rend compte qu'on est dans un rêve, donc on est réveillé quelque part.
So we realize that we are awake. Attends, redis-moi, Marie, parce que...
Ça veut dire que quand on se rend compte qu'on est en train de rêver, on est réveillé.
So when we realize that we are in a dream, at that time we are awake.
Okay. So when you realize that we are dreaming, it was when you wake up. In the dream, you don't realize that you're dreaming. Very good. Yeah. So yes, anybody who likes to make a distinction between these two, like what Mary said, anybody who likes to make distinction, raise hands. To know the dream as dream and to see the dream as real. Cyril? Cyril or Cyril?
Cyril.
Cyril.
Yes, because the dream has an end. The dream is ending, and this is why we know that it is a dream.
Okay. Okay. My question is, what is the difference? So when you know the dream as dream, when you see the dream as real, what's the difference? Okay. Do you agree with me? What Cyril said? To know the dream as dream happens when the dream ends. This is what Cyril said, right? I agree with you. So my question is, to see the dream as dream means that to see dream as coming from my mind. So to see the dream as real means that the dream is not coming from my mind, it's really there. Did you get it? This is very important. To see something as coming from the object, let's say this is the subject, my mind, and this is the object, the flower. So if you see the dream as dream, you see dream as coming from your mind. Whereas you see the dream as real means the dream flower, if you see it as real, you don't see it as coming from your mind, you see it as coming from the object. You're getting it? Okay. So the point is that all these what is operating there, these are all operating on the in the dreamlike nature. Dreamlike nature. Okay, don't worry too much. We will explain in more detail a little later. Dreamlike nature. But how do you know? When will you know the dreamlike nature? When you wake up. When you wake up, this is the metaphor form, waking up from the sleep of ignorance by going into the understanding of emptiness, the wisdom of emptiness. When you have the wisdom of emptiness, it is like waking up from the sleep of ignorance. Okay, this is for many of us, it may be a little technical. Don't worry. Don't worry. For the time being, what I'm trying to say is that of the 3 levels of dependent origination, when you realize the third one, that is dependent origination of dependence on mere mental designation or mental projection, to see that nothing's from the object, is all come from the subject. When you realize that, then you wake up to see the dream as, oh, it is just my dream. It's not really there. You wake up. Once you wake up, then all what was happening in the dream will not affect you. Once you are not affected, then you gain the freedom. You gain the freedom. Okay. All of us, when we were younger, when you are very young, right? The age of the 9, 10, 11, 12. And if you have siblings, right? And you're watching television, who likes to keep the remote control? You, or you like to give it to your brother or sister? Cyril? Cyril, what do you like to do? Remote control, you want to keep it, or you want to give it to your brother or sister? Cyril, what do you think?
It depends. It depends on the times.
Okay, so that okay, the Cyril is very kind, gentle. When you are more, when do you keep yourself?
Can you repeat?
When do you keep the remote control for yourself?
When I desire some program.
Yes. So therefore, you want to make sure that I want to watch this program, and my brother wants to watch. My brother wants to watch the cartoon. No, it's so boring for me. I want to watch the BBC. So remote control. Okay. So the remote control, let's say that, okay, I want to watch my program. So the remote control should be in my hand. It should not be. So the brothers, they fight. Sisters, they fight for the remote control. Why? With the remote control, you get the freedom. If you don't have the remote control, you don't have the freedom to choose the channel. You're getting it? So everybody is seeking freedom. What does it mean by suffering? What does it mean by misery? Misery means no freedom. Lack of freedom is misery. Lack of freedom is misery. And any misery you see is just a form of lack of freedom. So the point is that only when you realize that whatever is happening is like a dream, when you wake up from the dream, you are not affected by the dream contents at all. When you wake up, when you're in the dream, you are affected by the dream contents. When you wake up, you are not affected by the dream contents at all. You get total freedom from the dream contents. You're getting it? This is known as nirvana. This is known as enlightenment. Okay, now, not only that you are freed from being affected by the dream, that you're also able to manipulate the dream. Say, for example, your brother's sleeping, and from the body language, you can see that he must be going through a nightmare, having a very scary dream. Then you can maneuver his dream, right? You are not affected by his dream, but you can also you can change his dream by talking something nicely, or by playing the recording of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, by playing the record of the mantra, right? And then his dream contents will be changed. Believe it or not, external things can change the dream contents of the person. So you, not only that you're freed from the dream, you're not affected by the dream anymore, you can also help the person who is being affected by the dream by changing the course of the dream. And the best way by which to help is wake him up, all right? Wake him up, and then he will stop being affected by the dreams. So this is how you as a Buddha, you are benefiting all the sentient beings by waking them up from the sleep of ignorance. So for that matter, we need to understand the third level of dependent origination. You're getting it? But to wake up fully, it'll take time. Because it takes time, if it takes, like, let's say, if it takes, say 10 lifetimes, 10 lifetimes to wake up fully. So for 10 lifetimes, you should be in the dream. While in the dream, better go for the good dream rather than bad dream. So what is that good dream? Engaging in dream virtues. Bad dreams are engaging in the dream negativities. And engaging in the dream virtues, they will give rise to the dream happiness. When you wake up, that is the greatest of the virtue, known as the uncontaminated virtues. So this virtue will give rise to the uncontaminated happiness. Okay. So with this in mind, when you speak about the dependent origination, whosoever sees dependent origination will see the dharma. So this dependent origination, we have to understand in the context of the three levels. And the first one is the dependent origination of cause and effect, which is the one which governs the whole universe. Whole universe. Okay. With this in mind, precisely what the Buddha is referring to, the dependent origination, all the three levels, and precisely with the cause and effect dependent origination. And from the cause and effect dependent origination, how we are trapped in causally we are trapped in samsara, and how we can causally we can come out of samsara. This is what the Buddha taught as a part of the dependent origination. So for that matter, how we are trapped in samsara. So the mantra which we read, Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhava. Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhava. Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhava. This mantra which we recited this afternoon also, this morning also 3 times. This mantra, I'd like to quickly explain this. Ye Dharma, this phenomena of the happiness, this phenomena of the suffering. Hetu, cause, prabhava, arise. The happiness and the miseries that we go through, that we experience, they arise from dependence on the causes. Ye dharma hetu prabhava. So our miseries, the fear of COVID-19, and particularly people, some people who have bad, very weak lungs, asthma problems and so forth, they are more prone to the effects of the COVID-19. So the point is there's a fear, all this problems. Some people have a weak body, some people have a weak mind where you're easily prone to fear. All these things, they arise not randomly. They arise from depends on the causes. Om ye dharma hetu prabhava. Hetu means cause, prabhava arise. Hetum tesham tathagato. Hetum tesham. Hetu means plural form of the causes. Tesham, these causes, particularly these causes of the miseries, the fear of COVID-19, the fear of illness, fear of getting illness, fear of aging, fear of death, fear of losing near and dear ones, and so forth, fear of losing a job, and so forth. So all these, they arise from these causes. What are these causes? Hetum, causes, tesham, these, tathagato, the Buddha, Hyavatat, taught. What are these causes which give rise to fear in me, which give rise to unhappiness, miseries, anxiety, anguish? These are all what the Buddha, Tathagato, Hyavatat. Hyavatat means taught, said. These causes are what the Buddha taught or what the Buddha said. Tesham chayo nirota. Tesham, again these, tesham chayo, plural form, these causes responsible for our fears. Nirota is the cessation. The cessation of these causes of the fears, causes of the miseries, evam is thus. Vadi is taught by Mahashramana. Maha is the great, Shramana is the saint or the seer. So how to bring an end to these causes of the miseries is taught by the great saint, again the Buddha, right? Okay, this is Yeswaha, this is established. So from this, we see that how our miseries, they come into being and how miseries can be reversed. So these miseries, they come into being causally, but depends on the causes. What are the causes? What are the causes of these miseries? And having identified the causes of the miseries so well, how to undo these causes so the miseries will be undone completely. So this is the essence of this mantra. This mantra is so, so, so precious. So with this, so how the miseries, they come into being. Ye dharma hetu prabhava. These phenomena of the miseries, they arise from the causes. So how they are causally coming. For example, me now, I want body to be so flexible as when I was like in my 20s, but I'm already in my 50s now. My body is not that flexible. And then mentally, my memory, I want to have such a crystal clear memory as the memory that I used to have when I was in my teenage. And now the memory is fading away, right? Even some of the names, they fade away from my mind. So this is what is happening. So these things happened causally. So which means that from very nice, pleasant state to the unpleasant state. So this is how things are changing. So all these miseries that we have, so they came from the respective causes. What are the causes? First, let me introduce you to what Nagarjuna said, and then we relate this to what is said in this sutra. Okay, what Nagarjuna said is that all karmas, season comes the afflictions, leads from nirvana. Okay, so what Nagarjuna said is one stanza. This stanza is so important, and these will help us really see our own existence. We will we will come to discover ourselves so clearly. And once you discover ourselves so well, it is like scanning your body. by the doctors, scanning your body so well. Once you scan your body so well, and then the doctors will the diagnose your problems, and then having identified the problems, you will know how to get rid of these problems. Okay, so this is what this stanza by Aranagarjuna, which says that ceasing of karmas and afflictions is nirvana. Karmas and afflictions arise from conceptual thoughts, which in turn arise from the elaboration of self-grasping ignorance. And this ignorance will cease through the wisdom of emptiness. This is what Aranagarjuna said. Okay, don't worry. The stanza there will identify the stanza to you, and then I will say I will simplify what the stanza said in 5 points. Okay, here's the stanza. Thank you. Okay. Okay. This is stanza. Aranagarjuna's fundamental wisdom of the middle way. Ceasing of karmas and afflictions, actually instead of leads, it should be is nirvana. Karmas and afflictions arise from conceptual thought. These referring to the conceptual thought of inappropriate attention, arise from mental elaboration of grasping into existence. Elaboration ceases by or into emptiness. Okay, this is stanza. To know this stanza, if you know this stanza so well, from this we will come to understand the Rice Sutra so well. Okay, to know this stanza well, we need to know 5 points. The 5 points. Number one is, okay, ceasing of karmas and afflictions is nirvana. Observe nirvana is samsara. Observe nirvana is samsara, and you can also ask, what exactly is samsara? We hear about samsara all the time. What exactly is samsara? You can ask these questions. This is so important question. Don't think that, this is a very simple question. This is a very serious question. What exactly is samsara? So number one is samsara. And this samsara is given rise to by the contaminated karmas. Ceasing of karmas and afflictions is nirvana. Opposite nirvana is samsara, and samsara is the direct result of contaminated karmas. Number two. And the contaminated karmas meaning the physical, verbal, mental actions. Karma means actions. Physical, verbal, mental actions. What trigger this action? For example, let's say that I talk to you very roughly and physically. Body language is so rough. So what makes this expression of the rough physical and verbal actions? Mental, your thoughts. Say for example, when it comes to my my mother, I will talk nicely. But when it comes to somebody else who I dislike, even the words will be very rough. So what makes the difference? One, the words coming so gentle, and the other, okay, on the one hand, the words are coming so gentle and so nice, gentle, and on the other hand, the words are so rough. It's coming from the same person. What makes the difference? Rough means there's a rough mental state. That rough mental state is known as afflictions. So it says, ceasing of karmas and afflictions leads to nirvana. So this rough mental state, disturbing mental state, that is known as afflictions. These decide what kind of karmas come out. Okay. So then the karmas and afflictions, now they say the number one suffering, number two karma, then number three is afflictions. And these afflictions arise from what? This is a very important point. Very important point. Okay, let's say some of you may like flowers, others may not like flowers, and still others are neutral. So if I pick up this flower and I ask you, what is this? All of you, one group who is crazy after flowers, number two group, neutral, number three who dislikes flower. I show this flower, I ask, what is this? All of you will say that this is flower. All three groups will say, this is a flower. The next I say, how does this look? It looks nice or so-so or not really nice. And some will say that it's so nice. And then some will say that it's so-so. And some will say that no, just throw it in and take it out, right? So the point is that your reaction is very different. The first answer is same. Everybody will say this is a flower. Now, whether you like it or not, how nice is this flower? Then the reaction differs. So what is that thing which makes to give rise to three different answers? It's because how you look at it. When you see this flower as nice, you are exaggerating the quality of the flowers as nice. And some people, this is neutral. Okay, so. Others, they say that that's nothing. It's just always picking up flower, right? The last time also in, what is that? The Saukom Kalachakra Center. I say again, you brought up the flower. And the previous year also you brought the flower. So always flower, but please change it to mobile, right? Instead of flower. Okay, which means that you don't like flower. So me? Okay. Those who say it's beautiful, to them, they exaggerate the flower as nice. And to say, get rid of the flower, they exaggerate the flower as unattractive. You're getting it? So this is known as inappropriate attention. In other words, this is number 4. You are exaggerating the qualities of the flower. Either flower is attractive or either the flower is unattractive. Exaggerating the qualities. And then finally, number 5 is, it says, these arise from mental elaborations. Elaboration is the grasping into existence. Seeing the flower as objectively real. Say in the dream I asked you, what is this? You said, this is a flower. No, this is actually a dream flower in dream. Say you're dreaming and I showed this and I asked you, what is this? You said, this is a flower. Actually, it's not a flower, it's a dream flower, right? It's a dream flower. So you are exaggerating the dream flower as a real flower. First, the exaggeration of the object. That is the seeing the object as real, true existence. Then number 2 is you exaggerate the quality of this object. The dream flower this flower as beautiful, is as unattractive, the qualities. With the qualities attractive, then what happens? Your mind moves towards the flower. This is attachment. Affliction in the form of attachment. When you exaggerate it as unattractive, then your mind is pushed. That is aversion. Affliction in the form of aversion. So with this, what happens is that then the karmas are accumulated. And because of the karmas, then the miseries follow. Okay, 5 points. Let us not miss the 5 points. Number 1 is suffering or samsara. Number 2 is contaminated karmas. Number 3 is what triggers the contaminated karmas, afflictions. What triggers afflictions is inappropriate attention. Inappropriate attention meaning as exaggerating the qualities of the object as very nice or as very unattractive. And then finally, the self-grasping ignorance. So these are the 5 points that we should not miss. And we should not also miss the order. This order, we must know these 5 points in this order. Samsara or miseries, contaminated karmas, afflictions, inappropriate attention, and self-grasping ignorance. The 5 points. Once you know these 5 points, then the Buddha, who said that whosoever sees dependent origination will see the dharma, and whosoever sees the dharma will see the Buddha. And I'm sure many of you want to know, what does it mean by the dharma? What does it mean by Buddha? Yes, this we will touch a little later. And then, so this dependent origination, I said that it is with the focus. Of course, there's dependent origination. Whosoever sees dependent origination, when the Buddha refers to dependent origination, when the Buddha talked about the dependent origination, Buddha was referring to the all three kinds of dependent origination, with the emphasis on the first one, causal dependent origination. What is that causal dependent origination? The whole universe is operating on a basis of the causal dependent origination. And this causal dependent origination, within that, we see that there is one particular in the context of how my misery is coming to being, how your misery is coming to being. So finally, why we are studying these things, why we are, the practicing and so forth, is with expectation to get rid of our suffering, get rid of our miseries. So for that matter, your own, say how the miseries they come into being within yourself, how the miseries are given rise to causally, that becomes relevant. So in this connection, these 5 points should be known. Once you know these 5 points, then the Buddha taught the wheel of life. Then the Buddha taught the wheel of life, and related to the wheel of life, related to the wheel of life, then here, this is the wheel of life, related to the wheel of life, then the 12 links are taught, 12 links of dependent origination. Okay, now, so whoever sees dependent origination will see the Dhamma. So this dependent origination, while it explains or it touches all the 3 levels of dependent origination, the focus is on the 12 links of dependent origination. So these 12 links of dependent origination you see depicted in this painting. This painting actually, initially it was commissioned by the Buddha himself. Buddha himself gave the instruction to paint this, related to the discussion between, or the interaction between 2 kings, King Uddiyana and King Bimbisara. And Buddha Shakyamuni was presiding in the kingdom of King Bimbisara, and King Uddiyana happened to be a very powerful king with a bigger, much bigger kingdom. And King Uddiyana at one point, he, as a gesture of friendship, he sent a gift to King Bimbisara. And King Bimbisara, what he did, and what gift he got was that he got a gift of extremely expensive armor, made of gemstones. And King Bimbisara was so excited initially, but then it was the custom for one to say the repay, so one to give something in return. And then he should give something similar to this, but he is from a smaller kingdom, so he could not afford to give something of that value. So he was so demoralized, King Bimbisara. And finally he approached the Buddha, and the Buddha said, don't worry, you send one of your the best, one of your good the painters, and then we will do something. And King Bimbisara was very happy. He sent the best of the painters to the Buddha, and the Buddha then gave the Buddha advice. Buddha instructed to paint this. Okay, this was the painting done. And in this painting, now we should be able to relate this painting with the 5 points we have studied. Okay, I'm going to do it very quickly. Otherwise, we spent like minimum like 10-12 hours, minimum 10-12 hours, and in some cases like even more to study just this painting. We spend many hours. So here we don't have time, but of course what we're going to study here in this text, they're all related to the 12 links. So you should have the 12 links very thorough. So today I'll introduce the 12 links, and then your job is tomorrow for the 3rd session, you should have all the 12 links on your fingertips. And that too without altering the sequence. That is what we should learn on a fingertips. We should have on a fingertips. Okay. And so this is, and then the Buddha gave finally this painting was completed under the instruction of the Buddha Shakyamuni, and the Buddha Shakyamuni called King Bimbisara, and gave it to King Bimbisara and instructed King Bimbisara, now this is going to be the gift to your friend, King Uttayana. And King Bimbisara was so happy, he sent a message to King Uttayana saying that, okay, you should come to the field, where usually is a huge field where the kingdoms, they use that as a battlefield. So he asked King Uttayana to come there, we'll meet there. And then bring along with you, bring all your cavalries, all the whole army. And King Origination got this message, and in those days, if this message that you got means that the other kingdom wants to fight with you, you're going to have a combat. King Origination became so angry. How dare that this King Bimbisara, I gave him such a precious gift, and then in return he wants to wage war against me. He was so angry. And it so happened that King Uttayana had a wise minister, one extremely wise minister. And the minister said, hold on, king. Let us do what he instructed, what King Bimbisara instructed, asked us to do, let him do that. But even if you wage a war, you will conquer him so easily. He's from a very small kingdom. You are from a very big kingdom. You can easily conquer him. And then King Uttayana, he listened. Then he, brought all his the whole army, the cavalry, everything was brought. And then the King Bimbisara also brought from his side, and the two sides were coming closer on the battlefield. And then suddenly what happened was that King Bimbisara got off from the horse and escorted with just two ministers and nothing there, no sword, nothing. And then King Uttayana was a little confused. What is this? He also got off as a gesture of respect. He got off with his ministers, headed towards the King Bimbisara. Then they met. And then King Bimbisara handed over this gift, what he had, the painting, with so much respect to the painting, and given to the King Uttayana, said that this is my gesture of the paying back for the beautiful gift, very precious gift that you have given me. This is a gift in return for you. And King Uttayana was, okay, what could that be? He was just imagining. And then, so he saw it was draped in a very expensive cloth. And he removed the first layer of the cloth. Again, he saw the second layer of the cloth. Again, very expensive cloth. It was draped in 5 layers of extremely expensive cloth. And he was confused. Finally, a painting came out. What is this? So much expensive the cloth, and the painting, which is so cheap, came out. What is this? And again, the very wise minister, he suggested that, okay, king, just see what is there, what is there in this painting before you reject it. And then the king was just observing this, studying this. He was just observing what kind of painting. And because of his very strong previous connection with the dharma, suddenly there was some kind of awakening happening within the king just by seeing these paintings. So it is said that people who are more meritorious, just by studying this painting, say in some cases a profound renunciation can come to you. Say to get the whole feeling of what the samsara is will naturally come to you, and then wanting to get out of samsara will come to because of this painting. Just by, and the king really experienced that. And then king was asking, okay, who's that guy there to the extreme right? And then the minister said, hey, don't say guy. He is the awakened one. What do you mean the awakened one? He is not in samsara anymore. He is fully enlightened. He's the enlightened one, referred to as the fully awakened one, the Buddha. And he said, where is he? He is with King Bimbisara. in King Bimbisara's kingdom. Then the King Bimbisara became so important to this King Uttayana. And then what is he doing there? So King Bimbisara is honoring the Buddha Shakyamuni and was giving all his respect to King to the Buddha, and receiving counseling, receiving advice, receiving dharma, and along with the Buddhas, the disciples, the monks, 500, 1,000 monks are there. And then King Uttayana said that, oh, why not? I will have the Buddha with me. Then he said, no, you have to seek permission from King Bimbisara. Then King Bimbisara became very important. Okay, this is the little bit of the story behind this. And the Buddha gave the instruction to the monks that this painting must be depicted on the walls of the facade of the temples. Facade of the temples, the temples, and then the temples, the monasteries, where the pilgrims, they come to pay respect to the monastery. You must allocate one monk to explain, a scholar monk, to explain this to the pilgrims, and so that the pilgrims, they will have something to take away, to learn about how samsara operates and how we can be freed, we can be liberated from samsara. So this was instruction given by the Buddha. Okay, so with this, we're talking about dependent origination, and precisely the Buddha is talking about the 12 links of dependent origination. Next, the 12 links. Okay, these 12 links of dependent origination, 12 links of dependent origination, we need to have all these on our fingertips tomorrow. Okay, the 12 links. The first one is ignorance. So if you remember the 5 points, also number 1 is ignorance. Number 1 is ignorance. Sorry, say the 5 points in reverse form, reverse order. The first one is self-grasping ignorance. So here also ignorance. Then with the number 2, we have afflictions, reverse order. Okay, number 2 is inappropriate attention. Then number 3 is affliction. Okay, these two combined together, the afflictions, and then afflictions. Okay, so what we have here is the karmas, and from the 5 points after afflictions we have the karma. So here we have number 2 as the karma, and from the 5 points, from reverse order, the inappropriate attention and the afflictions, these two will be find the implicitly in the number 2 here. In the section on karma, number 2 in the 12 links of dependent origination, implicitly the point number 2 and 3 of the 5 points. 5 points, reverse point number 2 and 3 from the 5 points of Aranyagarjuna's text. They are included there in the number 2 here in the 12 links of dependent origination. Then number 3 is consciousness. Number 4 is name and form, sense sources, contact, feeling, attachment, grasping, becoming, birth, aging, and death. And many of you, so it's just, he's just reading this. We can also read it, right? Okay, now I'm going to explain each one of them on the basis of the painting. And then let us make it a point that tomorrow we have all these 12 on our fingertips, that too without altering the sequence. Okay, the painting can do. Okay, so if you look at the painting, say on the outermost circle, we have the 12 links, outermost circle. So if you look at the innermost circle, we have the 3, in the innermost circle, there is the afflictions, and say the afflictions, and the 3 creatures there, These three creatures, they explain the three families of afflictions. Three families. Afflictions meaning mental disturbance, a mental function which disturbs the mind, or mental factor which disturbs the mind. So there are three families. One is attachment, other one is aversion, and number three is ignorance. There are three. This is pretty simple. When you're at peace, when you're at the peace of mind, when your mind is very peaceful, then suddenly someone says, "Hey, Dorji, come, we have a cheesecake celebration," right? Then your mind will be pulled by this. And somebody says, "A stupid thing, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're not doing anything. Why don't you, do something? Do something to help somebody." Then my mind gets agitated. So look, one, there's a pull, one, there's a push happening. My mind, although I intended to stay calm and peaceful, now my mind is disturbed. One by attachment, pull, which is attachment, and the other one is push, which is anger, right? And then when the push and pull does not happen, then there's ignorance. Neutral, there's ignorance. Okay, my question to you. Okay, what I said is that when my mind, okay, I want to sit very calm and peaceful. COVID-19, it really tired me, right? Okay, now I really want to have a break, peace of mind. So I said like this, and then then who's that? Okay, then the Patrick comes. Okay, Sheila, thank you for joining us. Let's celebrate cheesecake party, right? Then I'm fond of Patrick. Then my mind is pulled by him, right? And then somebody not from here, somebody says, "What are you doing, Sheila? You're wasting your time with the cheesecake. What is cheesecake, right? What is cheesecake? You are wasting your time. What a stupid person you are." Then my mind feels disturbed, right? I don't want to hear this. My mind is pushed by it. And Patrick, my mind is pulled by him. You're getting it? There's a pull and push. What is pull? Pull is attachment. Involuntary pull is attachment. Involuntary push is aversion. These are the two families. Now the third family, where pull and push is not there, right? Pull and push is not there. And then somebody comes. Who comes? Okay, let's say, let's say the Alex comes. And Alex says, "Hey, Geshe, what are you doing? Okay, please don't disturb me. I'm at peace. Oh, please, stay calm. Say, that's nice, right? Okay, so I'm not being pulled. I'm not being pushed. I'm neutral. So there, what happens? My ignorance. With a pull is attachment. Push is anger. Then the neutral is ignorance. You're getting it? So these are the three classes of afflictions. Afflictions meaning, say, the involuntary movement of the mind. One is push, pull, and neutral. Pull is attachment, push is aversion, and the neutral is ignorance. Okay, do you have a question to me so far? Or I should ask you a question. You choose one. If you ask me a question, I can give the answer. If I ask you the question, I cannot give the answer. Then you decide. Right? Okay, say you like, first tell me, what do you like to do? You like me to ask the question in relation to this concept. In relation to this concept, what I said is that in relation to how the afflictions work. Afflictions, the three creatures at the center of the wheel. One, where your mind is involuntarily pulled, right? My mind is pulled by the cheesecake of Patrick. That is attachment. That is pushed by a bad comment by somebody else. So that is anger. And then the neutral feeling. Neutral feeling is ignorance. Again, this is what I said. Any questions related to this statement that I made? Not anything unrelated. Anybody? Okay, Mary. Mary, unmute.
Ouais. La question est que là, on cherche qui réagit comme ça. C'est celui qui a soit l'affliction, soit la colère ou reste indifférent. C'est celui-là qu'on veut savoir. Celui qui apparaît. C'est celui qui apparaît. Celui qui apparaît avec l'une des trois émotions.
Okay, anybody who would like to translate for me? Patrick?
So the
Okay.
question is who. So when there are these three states of attachment, anger, and ignorance, the question is who is appearing? Who arises?
Qui apparaît? Qui apparaît
Who
là?
is the person arising in these different states?
Okay, this is Dorji. Yeah.
Ouais,
It's
Dorji,
Dorji.
donc c'est le jeu Dorji.
So it's the eye of Dorji.
Sorry?
So in this case, it's the eye of Geshe-la that's appearing.
Oh, Dorji. Dorji, yeah. Okay, any other question? Any other question? Okay. If you don't have the question, I'll ask the question. Okay.
Actually, Geshe-la, there are two questions, two people wanting to ask questions, Subhashini and Vidya. I think they have
yes.
their hand.
Okay, the first, let's say Venerable Elizabeth La.
Yeah. So there is one emotion which is leading to the two others.
Okay, the
is
question
there
is,
one emotion leading to the two others?
One emotion does it lead to the
The
other
main
two?
one, the main emotion leading to the two others, and how does it work? How does it lead to the two others?
Okay, meaning the ignorance gives rise to the two others.
Yeah,
is what I'm saying?
Right. What
And
the
how does it
mechanism
rise
is?
to other? Very good. Okay, let us not forget these questions. You're getting it? Let us not forget these questions. These questions are all so important. The one question which Venerable Elizabeth is asking is, how does, of the three emotions, attachment, aversion, and ignorance, how does the emotional ignorance give rise to attachment and aversion? And what is the process?
Yeah.
This is the question. Very good. Let's not forget this. Anybody else? Okay, Isabel. Unmute. Isabel. Unmute. Isabel, unmute. Unmute.
Pardon. What is the fourth possibility when there is no ignorance, no aversion, no attachment? What is
the fourth one? If one does not have the ignorance, attachment, aversion, then what is the fourth state? Fourth state is liberation, right? That's the liberation, that you are freed from all the miseries. You become totally fearless. This is known as Arahat. Any more question? Shandila?
Yeah, regarding ignorance, when there's a neutral movement of the mind, how is that an affliction in this case?
Okay, this is the question that I'm waiting for. This is the question that I'm waiting for. Anybody, did you understand the question which Shandila asked? Anybody who understood? Anybody who understood the question? Anybody? Raise hands. If you understood Shantila's question. Okay, Venerable Jimbala. Jimbala? No. Oh, yeah. What is the question which Shantila asked? Okay, how is that? It's affliction. Okay, it's correct. It's 99% correct. 1% not correct. Okay, anybody else? Anybody who can paraphrase the question asked by Chandila? Anybody? Anybody? No one. No one. No one. Okay, Laura.
Geshe-la, I think she might have said something like, how does a neutral movement of the mind constitute ignorance?
Very good. How? So what Jimbala said is how the neutral movement of the mind is affliction. Is correct. But Shantila is precisely asking how is that ignorance? You're getting it? Okay. I like one more person to paraphrase or to utter the question once more. Anybody? Anybody? To make sure that everybody heard this question. Okay, how many heard this question? Raise your hand. How many heard this question? How many you, okay, yes, there's no need for me to repeat it to you, but I know this question. Raise your hands. Okay, good. Which means that you all know the question. The question is, when the mind is pulled, say, I don't want to be pulled, push, whatever. I simply want to rest well, just experience a peace. And suddenly, Patrick brings a cheesecake, Geshe-la, cheesecake to celebrate. My mind is pulled. That is attachment. And then somebody says that, what a stupid thing that you're doing. Then my mind, I don't want it. My mind is pushed by it. That is aversion. And then when the pull and push doesn't happen, it's ignorance. It's neutral, it's ignorance. So the question is, when your mind is in neutral state, how do I correlate this with ignorance? This question, you're getting it? How do I correlate this with ignorance? This question. Okay. Anybody who can give answer to this question? Anybody who can give answer to this question? How is this? This is a very important. Oh, Roger?
Well, I understand that is ignorance in the sense of you don't pay attention, you don't have consciousness about this, or you don't care. But you can have a state, you have consciousness without being ignorant, I guess. So I think in that case, it doesn't pay attention.
Okay, Alan. Alan, say it again.
I understood in that case that you ignore it just means you don't pay attention because you have the pull and pull, and then you decide, I don't pay attention.
Okay, I don't pay attention. That is ignorance. Is this? Okay, let us all listen to the different answers. You're getting it? So the whole purpose of our studying is that our mind should grow. Our mind should grow. For that, our mind should think. Our thinking facility must be activated. Okay, Roger? Unmute. Roger, unmute yourself. Roger, unmute. Yes.
En fait, est-ce que c'est d'être ignorant que finalement voir qu'une chose, par essence, elle n'est pas belle ni moche. Par essence, elle n'a pas le pouvoir d'être ni belle ni moche. Elle n'a pas le pouvoir de nous émouvoir en essence. Donc, est-ce que c'est pas voir, est-ce que on peut dire que c'est de l'ignorance de voir les choses ainsi? Comme disait Spinoza, on ne trouve pas, on dit pas, les choses sont belles non pas parce que nous les désirons, mais c'est parce que nous les désirons que nous les jugeons belles.
Okay, anybody who translate? Yes. Yeah.
I might try to translate the philosophical part is about Spinoza. It's a European philosopher. So it's not because something is beautiful that you desire it, but it's because you desire it that is beautiful. Or you hate it, then it becomes ugly. So the question is in the desire, according to the Western philosophy.
Okay, thank you, Alan. Roger, what was Roger's reply? Is this what Roger said? Jimbala. I cannot hear you, Jimala. I cannot hear you.
Oui, tout à fait. On n'aime pas les choses parce qu'elles sont belles, on les aime parce qu'en fait, c'est notre désir qui fait qu'on aime les choses.
Okay, Spinoza, Spinoza, Western philosopher, he said, we desire, therefore it becomes beautiful. If you don't desire, the beauty doesn't make any sense. Okay, anybody else? The question is, how is this, say when your mind does not desire, or mind is not pushed, this is ignorance. How it is ignorance? Pooja.
I think the neutral state of mind is without a conscious control. It is involuntary. That's why it's ignorance.
Okay, so the Buddha's mind is neutral. So is ignorance?
No.
Okay, Mary. Yes, Mary.
Oui, je mets le micro. Parce que je pense que dans ces cas-là, on se réfugie, c'est une façon de se réfugier dans la non-compréhension ou dans le non-savoir. Comme ça, on est neutre. On est dans la non-compréhension et du non-savoir de la chose, et donc on est neutre. Tu me comprends?
Okay. Unless I get a good answer, I cannot go any further. So okay, Isabel.
Neutrality, isn't it equanimity?
Equanimity is good or bad? Equanimity, is it good or is it bad? Isabel, what do you think?
Yes, but is it different, neutrality and equanimity?
Okay, the neutral and equanimity are these two different.
Yeah.
Neutral is more like from the object. Equanimity is like from the subject. Your reaction is there's the equanimity there, your reaction. But in terms of feelings, is neutral. And then because the feeling is neutral, then your presentation, your reaction is equanimity, right? So the question is, how is this, for the neutral feeling, the ignorance arise? How? Ignorance arises. Okay, Chandela expert. Chandela, okay. Yes, Chandela. We cannot hear you. Unmute.
I have two aspects to this. One is that if there's a neutral feeling, you are under the sway of the all-pervasive suffering, all-pervasive compounded suffering. And another thing is that a neutral feeling also can lead to kind of laziness kind of thing and ignorance. That kind.
Oh, what about the neutral feeling of the Buddha?
That
no
laziness.
No laziness, right? Okay. Bruno Pinel, unmute yourself, unmute. Bruno, unmute.
Ok, ça va là? Oui, ça va. Une sensation neutre n'est pas une sensation stable. Et elle peut dériver très très vite puisque l'on n'a pas la conscience de la sensation, fût-elle neutre. Vous m'entendez?
Oh, neutral feeling is not stable. So
not stable. Yeah,
that's fine. But how ignorance?
Oui. Because the mind is not present. With a neutral sensation, the mind is not present. is not no attention.
Oh no, with the neutral is very nice. Buddha, you know, and even arhats, they have neutral feeling, no ignorance.
No, sorry.
Okay, Patrick.
Ouais.
Patrick.
Non, je pense que la différence entre l'équanimité et la neutralité, c'est que l'équanimité, on est engagé de façon équanime par rapport à être en relation avec les autres, alors que la neutralité, on reste en dehors de vouloir être en relation avec les autres. Et cela peut mener à l'ignorance. Ouais. C'est OK? Tu peux traduire, Jimla?
Okay, good, thank you. Huh? Okay, thank you, Charles. Charles, unmute yourself, unmute, yes.
Je voudrais préciser que dans l'ignorance, il y a deux choses. Il y a la confusion et l'ignorance fondamentale. Donc, une c'est lié à la causalité et l'autre, c'est de ne pas comprendre la nature de chaque chose. Et c'est de l'ignorance fondamentale que ça vient tous les autres facteurs. Et donc, ça répond, je crois qu'avec ça, ça peut répondre à toutes les questions ou les réponses qu'on a eues. Je ne sais pas si j'ai bien essentialisé la définition du terme ignorance.
Very good. Okay, thank you. Cyril?
Yes, I have an hypothesis, which is maybe if you don't know something and you are experiencing the thing which is neutral, maybe you want to look at it more closely, maybe, and then you experience either aversion or hostility or desire, because you look at it instead of not looking.
You look at it instead of not looking at it.
Yes, so you transform ignorance into aversion, hostility, or desire.
That's fine. My question is, how do you relate ignorance with the feeling of the neutral feeling?
Oh.
This is the question.
Oh, sorry.
So what Cyril is asking, the giving answer that you are giving is more related to question asked by Venerable Elizabeth. So how this ignorance gives rise to the other two emotions? Okay, Pooja.
It could be if you do not recognize or identify the neutral state of mind as a neutral state of mind, that's ignorance. And if you understand and identify, that's a positive experience, I think.
Okay, so the neutral feeling per se, it has nothing to do with ignorance, right?
It is if we do not identify or recognize
Exactly.
in our mind that it is neutral.
Not only ignorance, not only neutral, even the pleasant feeling, if you don't identify pleasant feeling as pleasant feeling, is ignorance, right? Not only the neutral, pleasant, unpleasant, all three. Right. Okay. Neeraj, okay, now the last. Neeraj, make sure that you give a good answer.
So I'll try, Geshe. So I think the neutral feeling is ignorance because you're still in the dream world and you're still believing that the dream world is the real world. So you have not stepped outside to see reality as it really is. So this is not applicable to Buddha because Buddha is outside fully awakened, and Buddha or Buddha beings can see reality as it is. So they are fully awakened.
Very good.
So in the dream world, neutral feeling is you do not realize that you're in a dream world.
Okay, very good. Okay, I'm very happy with Neeraj's response. Okay, let me share with you. Let me paraphrase what Neeraj just said. Okay, just imagine that we go to, let's say that we are all so addicted to, we are all like shopaholics. By the way, I'm sure there are 1 or 2 shopaholics in this group, right? So addicted to shopping. Okay, let's say we're all shopaholics, right? So addicted to shopping. Then what we do is that the venerable take us, okay, no shopping. Let's all go to Sengkhom for the retreat. We go there, Sengkhom retreat, and there's no shopping place. It's a very beautiful place, but not shopping place. Okay, now what happened is that, and then you fall asleep in Sengkhom, the Kalachakra retreat place. You fall asleep, day 1, you fall asleep. Then in the dream, you dream of, okay, let's say, who is that? Okay, let's say you dream of Anasofi coming. Anasofi coming, and Anasofi says that, okay, we will have a shopping complex. Right? Okay, we'll have a shopping class. So what she does is that she brought the Amazon, the boss, Jefferson, right? She contacted with the Amazon, and then Amazon started a big shopping complex. And then all the shopping items are displayed there. All the shopping items are displayed there, right? Okay, Amazon boss, Jefferson, is he interested? He's not interested in all these things. Who are interested, right? Somebody has to come. Who are they? The people who come for the Sengkhom retreat. Each one of us, the shopaholics, they come, right? So who did the display? Display was done by Jefferson, right? The Amazon boss, he did the display of all these things. Then somebody has to pick up things. I want this, I don't want this. Somebody has to pick up. The shopaholics come, we all go there. You're getting it? So one is just the display. This is not the real shopping complex. It's a dream shopping complex. In the dream, you're dreaming of this. In the dream, this is what is happening. And then say raise hands also are not those who are fed up with shopping. In other words, those who don't really care for shopping. Raise hands. Okay, Laura Gibson. Okay, many. That's interesting. That's amazing. Okay, Violet also. Okay, there are many. And how many you really, be very honest, how many you like shopping? Raise hands. Okay, let's say 3. Okay, 4, 5 out there, like half. Let's say half. Half of you like shopping, half don't like shopping. And then then Mary takes us all to the shopping complex. You're getting it? Mary takes us all to the shopping complex. And those of you who are so fond of shopping, you are so happy. You have become, I like this, I don't like this, right? I like this Gucci bag, right? Okay, so, and then the other group was just sitting there idly taking some coffee, right? And then it's just a waste of time. Okay, they're really angry. And the third person, not angry, not happy. So those who are so excited, there's attachment. And those who are so angry, this aversion. And those who are like neutral, reasons who are neutral to shopping. Okay, cereal. Okay, many of you, I think it's into 3 groups. Okay, those who are neutral, it's not problem. I have no anger, I have no attachment, it's neutral. But what are these? Of course, this is it's a big shopping complex. You're getting it? Okay, then you wake up. You wake up, right? There's no shopping complex. So the first one, attachment, that you're pulled by the shopping complex. This is attachment. The second group, pushed by the shopping complex, that is aversion. Then the third one, neutral. Oh, there's a shopping complex. Okay, is there any shopping complex? No. But you view a shopping complex. Is that ignorance or this is wisdom? This is ignorance. You're getting it? You have neutral feeling. So this neutral feeling still believes that this is true. This is a shopping complex. So in other words, with the neutral feeling, you still believe the dream as real. You're getting it? Dream as real. That is ignorance. So it is not that whoever has neutral feeling should have ignorance. It's not a connotation. Anybody who has the neutral feeling in the misconceiving the world to be objectively real, for them, the neutral feeling is accompanied by the ignorance. For others, the pleasant feeling mixed with the ignorance plus attachment. Aversion, ignorance plus aversion. You're getting it? So, in other words, when attachment is not there, aversion is not there, then it's just the ignorance level. So with the ignorance, for an attachment, the ground is ignorance. Aversion, the ground is ignorance. What Cyril said, with the ignorance, first there should be the shopping mall there. If there's no shopping mall there, I want this, I don't want this, will not happen, right? First, the shopping mall must be there. So there's no real shopping mall. It is your ignorance which see that as real shopping mall. It's a dream shopping mall. That ignorance. With the ignorance there, all three of you have the ignorance. And with the ignorance there, then one said that, oh, this, I like this, I don't like this. Just 2 hours in shopping mall is like 5 minutes for you. Whereas for those people who are really against, who dislike shopping, for you, it's like 5 minutes is like 2 hours waiting. And for the neutral people, it's fine. But in all three cases, you have the ignorance that this is the dream shopping mall is the real shopping mall. Then for one category, this ignorance gives rise to attachment. I like this. And second category, with this ignorance, you feel averse to it. What is this? Why did they create shopping mall in Semcom, the retreat place? Then the third one, there is no attachment aversion, but the neutral feeling is there, still with the with the added ignorance. So ignorance is there. So this is how ignorance pervades all the three: attachment, aversion, right? With a neutral feeling, attachment, aversion remove, only ignorance is left. This is known as the ignorance related to the neutral feeling. Okay, this is Niraj's answer. Niraj, is this what you're saying? So the Buddhas, they are woken up. They're woken up. They are not affected. They don't see the dream as real. So although they have the pleasant feeling, but they are not affected by the, say, the dream, contents of the dream. Okay, this is it. Okay, so now on so from tomorrow it's going to be a little more technical, and okay, but we have to somehow okay, we have to go through the painting very quickly. Very quickly, we have to finish the 12 links now. Otherwise, we cannot go through the text, because the text touches all these 12 links very often. Okay, the 12 links, if you look at the demon there, this demon symbolizes impermanence of death. Meaning that anybody who is in the mouth of a demon, there's no escape. There's no escape, you're going to die. Which means that anybody who's born in samsara, you are in the hands of the demon, which means that you are bound to die. This is the reality. Don't be scared. Don't be scared, meaning that don't feel so scared to run away from. Reflect on this. Know this, know the reality, and then see how to escape from this completely in a wise way. So in the demon's mouth, the whole wheel is being held by the demon in the demon's mouth, and then from the demon's mouth you go towards the right side. Right side, you see the men in the red the cloth. That is there is a symbolizing ignorance. That is the first one. Say a blind person depicted, holding a staff or a stick, and on the verge to fall off the cliff. So the ignorance. Then number two. Then clockwise. Move to the second. Clockwise. Clockwise, we see a potter making pots, and then there are numerous pots with varying sizes and the varying colors. So who decides the colors and the shapes of the pots? Decided by the potter. So That symbolizes our karma. What decides our next life? What decides our, you know, the being, your next life? That is determined by your karma. So karma is depicted as the potter. Then number 3 is the monkey. The monkey jumping from one tree to the next tree. So that monkey symbolizes our consciousness. The 2 trees symbolize the two bodies, one body of this life and the body of the next life. So just as the monkey jumped from one tree to the next tree, our consciousness, our mind leaves the first body, which is like the first tree, and jumping to the next body, which is the next tree. Next tree symbolizing the next birth. So this is the consciousness, number 3. Then from number 3, we go to number 8. Number 8, which is, you see the somebody there, yes, number 8, that is symbolized by the alcoholic person, a person drinking alcohol. So this, when somebody is into alcoholic, so the desire, craving for that craving for the alcohol is too intense. Likewise, the karma accumulated that has been carried by the monkey-like consciousness, and then the karma carried by this monkey-like consciousness, this karma is like the seed for the next life. So this karma must be germinated by the water. This seed must be germinated by the water of the attachment. So number 8 is the craving or the attachment. And then number 9 is symbolized by a monkey eating the one fruit and the other hand grabbing at the next fruit. That is excessive attachment, excessive craving. Excessive craving is given the label grasping. Okay, so number 9 is grasping, which is the excessive version of, intense version of craving. So these two, number 8 and number 9, germinate like the water to germinate the seed of the karma carried by the consciousness, number 3. Consciousness depicted by the monkey. Then number 8, number 9, then number 10. Number 10, just above that, is depicted by a pregnant woman, expectant mother. So it is like, this is symbolic. The reality is, what it refers to is that the karma that is accumulated, that is being germinated by these 2 factors, number 8 and number 9, germinated by the water of excessive attachment. Then this karma germinates. So there's the fetus in the mother's womb. So it is now becoming, enlarging in size, on the verge to give rise to the child's birth. That is number 10, which means the karma in the germinated form, the karma in the blossom form. Then number 11, you see a mother actually giving birth. These are again symbolic. What it says is that your mind, your mind is ejected from this life, and is connected to the next life. So the mother, when gives birth to you, you are being introduced to the world, the new world, which is unknown to you. So likewise, number 11 is birth, which means that your mind is ejected from this life and then being exposed to the next life. That is number 11. Then from number 11, we go to number 4. Number 4, we see that the boatman, boatman with 2 passengers. So basically, the emphasis should be on the 2 passengers. Boatman is just the unrelated. The 2 passengers there. These 2 passengers, so now you are connected to you're conceived in the mother's womb, next life's mother's womb. So there you have like the 2 passengers, you have the body and you have the mind. These 2 are symbolized by the 2 passengers. And these 2 passengers, whether you like it or not, you should be together. Even if you don't like each other, but till the boat crosses the river, you should be together. So your mind and your body, these 2, once you're conceived in the mother's womb, you have the body from your parents and the mind from your previous life. So these 2 are like the 2 passengers in the same boat. Now, till you die, these two will, whether you like it or not, these two will go together, like the two passengers in the same boat. That is still in the mother's womb. Then in the mother's womb, you keep growing. You keep growing. The embryo keeps growing, and then the next number five depicted by the house with 6 windows or 5 windows. Say when you are in the house, locked from outside, so how will you get access to the outside world? You will get access to the outside world through the windows. And our mind is trapped in this body. Our mind is like trapped in this body of the house, like this body. So how can we get access to the external world? Through the 5 windows: eyes for the visual objects, nose for the smell, auditory, or then the olfactory, sorry, and then auditory, the ear for the sound, external sound, and the smell through the nose, and then the taste through your tongue, and the tactility through your body. So these are the 5 windows, and then the other phenomena through your mental consciousness. So these are the 5 senses through which you get access to the outside world. So that is depicted by the known as the sense sources, depicted by the house with 6 doors or the 6 windows or the 5 windows. Then the number 4, 5, 6. Number 6 is depicted by a couple. So just a couple, the two of them touch. So this again symbolic. What it really represents is that we in the mother's womb, we have the 5 senses. And what is the purpose of these senses? The senses are to meet with their respective objects. Your eye consciousness to come in contact with the visual object. Your nose consciousness to come in contact with the smell object. So this is how just the 2 couple they meet. Likewise, our 5 senses, they meet with their respective objects. But at that point, it is still in the maturity state. It is like, say, for example, sometimes your legs or your feet become numb. And then when you sit cross-legged for a long time, your feet become numb. When it becomes numb, then you put your feet on the ground. You could feel something, but you do not know whether it is smooth, rough, or cold, hot. We don't, sometimes cold we can sense it, but not like the rough or the smoothness and so forth. We cannot sense it. We just have a numbness there. Likewise, this one, number 6, this is the feeling, not feeling, say the contact. At that point, you just have these senses, they start to operate, but they're not fully operating, these 5 senses. Then the next one is number 7, feeling. Feeling, depicted by arrow piercing the eyes of the person. So just imagine if a dust enters your eyes, it's so disturbing. The feeling is so sharp. And what if the arrow pierces your eyes? It's going to be acutely sharp feeling. So that is when you still in mother's womb, you keep growing, and your senses, they become now very sharp. They become very active, and then not only that, they come in contact with their respective objects. They also start to have the sharp feeling, pleasant, unpleasant, so forth. Okay, with these, then what happens is that then you come out of the mother's womb, and then say number 12. Number 12 is aging and death. So last one, depicted by a corpse being carried by a person, the corpse. The corpse depicts the aging and death. Okay, these are the 12 links. So now if you go back into the innermost depicts the 3 creatures, the 3 creatures depicting the 3 afflictions. And Venerable Elizabeth asked, so what is this? The 2 creatures that are coming out of the mouth of the pig. The pig symbolizes ignorance, the snake symbolizes anger, and the bird symbolizes attachment. And it is not that the snakes are angry by nature, for this is our depiction. When we see a snake, that's the aversion coming in your mind. And so why these 2 creatures come from the pig's mouth? This is to indicate that ignorance is responsible for the rest of the afflictions to arise. So first, in the dream, to have the attachment, aversion, and so forth towards the shopping mall, first the dream has to create the shopping mall there. That's ignorance. With this only, then you can go there to pick things up. I like this attachment. I don't like this aversion. So all the afflictions, they arise from the basic, say the ground of ignorance. This is one way of depicting it. And another way of depicting it is that the three creatures, they come from the other creature's mouth, and that in turn comes from the third creature's mouth. Third creature comes from the first creature's mouth. They are like a circular, indicating that these three afflictions, say, attachment can give rise to ignorance also. Not only ignorance gives rise to attachment, right? Same when you really feel attached to somebody, right? It makes you totally oblivious, and it blinds you from seeing all the defects and demerits of the other person. When you feel so attached to the person, it blinds you from seeing the reality of the person, and then you just trust completely, and then finally you end up in a disaster. Then you regret, I thought that this is a perfect person, and this is not. This because this ignorance blinds you from seeing the reality, giving rise to another kind of ignorance. So attachment gives rise to ignorance. Attachment gives rise to anger. So for example, I like the cheesecake, and the cat topples the cheesecake. I feel so angry because I love the cheesecake. If I don't love the cheesecake, that cat jumps on the cheesecake, no problem, right? Okay, that's good. So I don't have to eat the cheesecake anymore now, right? So this is how attachment gives rise to anger, jealousy, all these things. So, okay, so this is how can be this another way of depiction. Then with these afflictions, what happens? Then the second wheel, you see half black and half white, saying that with these afflictions will make you to engage in actions, will make you to manifest these afflictions into actions. And actions are two kinds: virtuous actions, non-virtuous actions. And then these non-virtuous actions will give rise to undesirable experiences, results. And the virtuous actions, depicted by the half white, give rise to the resultant, let's say the pleasant experiences. So what are the pleasant and unpleasant experiences? The results are depicted by the third circle. Third circle, three below. The one which is the downmost, that is the hell realm. And to the left side of this is hungry ghost realm, and to the right side is the animal realm. These are the three realms which are the results of the negative karmas, depicted by the half black. And then the three higher are the topmost, which is the devas, god and goddess realm. And then to the right side of the topmost, this is the what is that? What is in English we call it demigods, asuras. Okay, in Sanskrit asuras, in Tibetan the Lhamaim. And to the left side is human realm. So these three they depict the happy results or the wholesome results given rise to by the virtuous karma, depicted by the white half. Okay, now how these two are connected, innermost, how that is connected to the second circle, karma, how the karma is connected to the resultant the experiences. So that is explained in great detail by the 12 links. You getting it? Okay, this is about this. And so I expect that all of us will have the 12 links on our fingertips tomorrow before we join the third session. Okay, we'll stop here. One or two questions if you have. One or two questions if you have. Yes, yes. Okay, so basically, Tibet House, what we, I'm not sure whether if you got the announcement, but I'll be happy to send the announcement to Venerable the Elizabeth La, and then I hope from Venerable Elizabeth La, you'll all get this announcement. So tomorrow the idea is that by Indian time, Indian Standard Time, 5:30, we will have the aspirational Bodhisattva vow, the ceremony. We're going to do this, which we do in all the Bodhisattva retreats. So we'll do that tomorrow to commemorate this love of vision, or the Buddha's the day, the sacred day of the Buddha's descent from the heaven to the earth, after spending 3 months in the heaven to give teachings to his mother and the other god and goddesses. So this is what we're going to do at 5:30. That is way after this teaching happening. And anybody who likes to join us. And then maybe Venerable Jimbala, you can translate in French, those of us who are interested. Yes, this is for tomorrow. Okay, any questions? Any questions? Situllah. Okay, if not question, then we'll stop here. We'll do the end dedication prayer. We'll do a quick end dedication prayer. Okay, screen sharing is happening. Okay, let us pray that COVID-19 subsides by, say, the developing, by inventing or developing the vaccine, the correct vaccine, and so that everybody can go back to their normal life, and all the people whose lives are affected directly or indirectly. In fact, I would say that all 7 billion human beings, their lives are affected by the COVID-19. So let us pray that. And then some are badly affected by this. So much of pain, agony created in the in the family, because loss of near and dear ones, and some people with the domestic violence, and some people have not having jobs, lost their jobs, and then no source of earnings, so forth. Let us pray that all of them will go back to normalcy. One, and that the education suffered, environment suffered, then the business suffered, and everybody suffered. So let's pray that COVID-19 comes to an end, and everybody will have a peace of mind restored. And also let us also pray that His Holiness the Dalai Lama, the true source of joy and happiness on this earth, that he lives long and that his wishes be fulfilled spontaneously. And then above all, that all the world leaders, let us pray that all the world leaders learn from His Holiness the spirit of dialogue, the spirit of sisterhood and brotherhood for the whole world, so the world will find a better one family of the world. And let us pray that all the great teachers in the monastic universities, like my teachers, all the great teachers, and like the Lama Subharam Rinpoche, the director of the EPMT, and all the great teachers, they have long life, and that their wishes be fulfilled spontaneously. May all the teachings on bodhicitta, all the teachings on dependent origination, emptiness, thrive in the minds of all dear Matsunjin beings, present and the future. So with that in mind, let's say these verses. In the land encircled by snow mountains, you are the source of all happiness and good. All powerful charities say Tenzin Gyatso, please remain until samsara ends. Just as the brave Manchu Shri and Samadhi too realize things as they are, also I dedicate all these merits in the best way that I may follow their perfect example. I dedicate all these rules of virtue with the dedication praised as the best by all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, all the Buddhas who appeared in the 3 times, so that I might perform the noble Bodhisattva's deeds. kone kondo pevarai. May the Supreme Bodhicitta that is not arrested and arising grow, and may that which is arrested not diminish but increase forevermore. As long as space remains, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I truly remain to display the miseries of the world. Due to the merits of these virtuous actions, may I quickly attain the state of a Guru Buddha and lead all beings without exception into that enlightened state. I dedicate the merits thus gathered towards the realization that is in the prayers of all the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas of 3 times, and of the upholding of Dharma of teaching and realization. May I in all lives, through the force of this merit, never separate from the 4 wheels of the Mahana vehicle, and accomplish all the stages of the path, renunciation, bodhicitta, perfect in the 2 stages. With a wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I journey the mind of full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. I go for refuge to the Triple Gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddhahood in my heart. By the power of practicing and supplicating to you, may all be free from sickness, poverty, and conflicts, and may Dharma and the auspiciousness proliferate in all the places where we abide. The path of union and emptiness, compassion, is loosely explained by the protector of both the Dharma and the beings of the land of snows. You are the Lotus Holder, Tenzin Gyatso. We supplicate you that your wishes are fulfilled spontaneously. May the operations of evil thoughts and deeds of the negative forces of humans and non-humans who hereby manage through perverted prayers against the teachings of the Buddhas be totally vanquished through the power of the truth of 3 jewels. In all my lives, never separated from perfect gurus, I enjoy the magnificent Dharma by completing the qualities of the stages and the paths, I quickly attain the state of Vajratara. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by Ramanjushri and be able to uphold the Dharma in general and the teachings on dependent knowledge in particular, even across my life. Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhi Swaha Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhi Swaha Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Bodhi Swaha. Okay.
Thank you, Geshe.
Next session. Welcome.
Thank you,
welcome.
Geshe.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you, Geshe.
Welcome,
Thank you,
welcome.
Geshe.
Merci Geshe.
Thank you very much.
Merci, Geshe.
Merci.
Thank you, Geshe.
Merci Jimpa, vénérable.
Merci à toutes et tous. Merci Geshe.
Super.
Thank you, Geshe. Thank you very much.
Demain.
À demain.